She thought she had finally won. After decades in the shadows, after years of being the villain in the world's greatest love story, Camilla Parker Bowles had become queen. She had the title, the palace, and she thought the past was finally buried. But Prince William had other ideas. With one decision, quiet, deliberate, and devastatingly powerful, William sent a message to Camilla, to the palace, and to the entire world. His mother's name will not be erased. Diana's legacy will be protected. And no title, no crown, and no amount of royal spin will ever change that. This is the moment Queen Camilla didn't see coming. And this is why, behind closed palace doors, she was left in tears. Welcome to Northwire. To understand why William's decision cut so deep, you have to understand what Camilla sacrificed, and what she took to get where she is today. For most of her life, Camilla was the most hated woman in Britain. She was the other woman. The one who broke up the fairy tale. The one the public blamed for Diana's pain. When Diana sat in front of the camera in 1995 and said there were 3 people in her marriage, the world knew exactly who she was talking about. Camilla endured years of public fury. Protesters outside events, eggs thrown at her car, newspaper front pages that showed no mercy, but she stayed, she waited, and slowly, carefully, the palace worked to rehabilitate her image. It took years. It took strategic press campaigns. It took the quiet but deliberate softening of public opinion, and in 2005, she married Charles, not as Princess of Wales. That title was too loaded, Diana. So she took the title Princess Consort instead. But when Charles became king in 2022, everything changed. Against the wishes of many, and against what Charles himself had once promised the public, Camilla was made Queen Consort, and then Queen. She had arrived, after everything, after all of it, she was Queen of England, but William had never forgotten, and William had never fully forgiven. William and Camilla, the wounds that never healed. The relationship between William and Camilla has always been one of the most carefully managed silences in royal history. On the surface, there are photos, polite smiles, public appearances together, the image of a family that has moved on, but behind that image, sources close to the palace have consistently reported something very different. William tolerates Camilla. He does not embrace her. He watched, as a child, what the affair did to his mother. He heard Diana cry. He saw what the press did to her. He felt what it meant to grow up in the middle of a marriage that was never really a marriage at all. And while Harry has spoken publicly about his pain in interviews, in his memoir, on every platform available to him, William has stayed silent. But William's silence should never be mistaken for acceptance. Because William expresses himself differently. He expresses himself through decisions. And the decision he recently made sent a message louder than any interview ever could. The decision that changed everything. William, as Prince of Wales, controls a significant amount of influence over how the royal family presents itself to the public. And in recent months, William has made a series of quiet but powerful moves, all pointing in the same direction. He has ensured that Diana's memory is woven into the fabric of his public image. Her photograph in his office. Her engagement ring on Kate's hand. A choice he made deliberately, not accidentally. But the decision that reportedly left Camilla shaken was this. William made clear through trusted intermediaries, and in private conversations that have since been reported, that he would not allow Camilla's role in royal history to be elevated at the expense of Diana's. Specifically, William pushed back hard against efforts within the palace to formally cement Camilla's legacy, in ways that would overshadow Diana's place in the monarchy's history. There were discussions, quiet, internal discussions, about royal tributes, historical records, and the way the next generation of the monarchy would be presented to the public, and William, in those discussions, drew a line. Diana comes first. His mother's legacy. Her charity work. Her compassion. Her connection to the people would not be minimized to make room for Camilla's comfort. When word of William's position reached Camilla, sources say the reaction was visceral. She had spent decades trying to move past the shadow of Diana, and here was Diana's own son, the future King of England, making sure that shadow never disappeared. The tears behind closed doors. Royal sources and commentators close to the family have described Camilla's response as deeply emotional. Not the composed, dignified reaction she presents in public, but something far more raw, because this was not criticism from the press. This was not a protester outside a building. This was not Harry writing another chapter in a book. This was William, the future king, her husband's son. The boy she had watched grow up from a distance, always from a distance, into one of the most powerful men in Britain. And he had looked at her place in the monarchy and said, "Not above Diana. Never above Diana." For Camilla, who has spent years carefully building her public image, the warm grandmother, the literary patron, the dignified queen, this was a direct strike at everything she had worked for. Sources describe her as shaken, upset, tearful in private conversations with those closest to her. Because the one thing Camilla could never outrun, the one thing no title could erase, was Diana. And William had just made sure of it. Why William did it. Those who know William say this was not impulsive. William does not do impulsive. He is measured, strategic, every move calculated. This decision came from somewhere deep and long held. William grew up carrying Diana's memory, in a way that the world rarely sees. Publicly, he is restrained. He does not wear his grief on his sleeve the way Harry does, but privately, those close to him say Diana is always present, in the way he parents his children. George, Charlotte, and Louis, he has spoken about making sure they know who their grandmother was, what she stood for, why she mattered, in the way he approaches his royal duties, the connection to ordinary people, the willingness to show vulnerability, the focus on mental health, all of it traces back to Diana. And in the way he watches how history is being written, William understands that he will one day be king, and as king, he will have enormous influence over how the monarchy tells its own story. He is already shaping that story, and in that story, Diana is not a footnote. She is not a difficult chapter the institution would rather skip past. She is central, she is foundational, and Camilla, whatever her title, will not change that. The British royal family has always been an institution built on image, on control, on narrative, on deciding what the public sees and what it never does. But Diana broke that. She went around the palace, straight to the people, and she made herself impossible to erase. And now her son, quiet, deliberate, future king, is making sure the palace never tries. William's decision was not loud. There was no press conference, no statement, no viral interview. But in the corridors of power, everyone understood what it meant. Diana won. Not in spite of everything that was done to her, because of the son she raised. And somewhere, if you believe in such things, she already knows. If this story moved you, you are in the right place. Subscribe to North Wire. Because the truth behind the crown is deeper than you think, and we will keep uncovering it every single week. Thank you for watching North Wire. Hit subscribe and turn on your notifications so you never miss a story. The crown has secrets, and we are here to tell them. See you in the next one. North Wire Untold Royal Stories.